All right. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's episode of Creative Cosplay Corner. I am Cable Rose, the host and uber fan of all things cosplay. And tonight we have a very special guest because it's near and dear to my heart. I'm a Star Wars fan, and so we're definitely going to have fun tonight with Katie Thorne Williams, which is her Instagram. Katie is coming to us from a beautiful, beautiful tropical beach area, and so we're going to share both her passion for her cosplay and then some of her amazing pictures of that cosplay in action. But I want to introduce Katie. Katie, come on to the show and just kind of introduce yourself and give us some background. Who are you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Williams, and I do cosplay or costuming with the 501st Legion. I have a Stormtrooper costume and a New Hope stunt TK, and then I've recently just completed a Death Trooper build and got it approved back in January. So I have 2 costumes total, and that is pretty much our hobby, Star Wars costuming here in Northwest Florida.
So, Katie, do me a favor, because you had 2 statements in there that really stuck out to me. One, you're working on both. You had the original TK and your Death Trooper, but then you said it got approved. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the 501st. So do me a favor. You're my first. Nope, I had Mike Q. I want to make sure I get this right. So I think Mike was with the 501st. But in the realm of the 501st, me and Mike didn't talk about it. So do me a favor. Talk about the 501st and what does that mean? Because this is a whole different world than we'll call it amateur cosplay versus we'll call it your level of effort put into a costume. So please let us know what that is.
Sure. So the 501st is the official costuming club for Star Wars. We operate under the license of Lucasfilm, so we have their permission to wear those costumes and to raise money. We're a nonprofit organization, so everything we do is totally charity work, and we go to a lot of local events. We can be invited to birthday parties or parades, stuff happening in your community, whether it's themed for like holidays. It could be literally anything. But in order to be a member of that club, you do have to build a costume, and it does have to meet certain requirements in order to be a part of the official club. And that's what I meant by getting approved. I could have built my costume and walked out on the street. I can still do that now.
Sure.
But if you want to be an official member of that costuming club and to have that, I guess, title per se, it does have to meet certain requirements in order for it to be certified as like a screen accurate type costume.
So Katie, I appreciate that, because as my guests come on, there's all levels of cosplay experience. And myself, I can literally put on a Black Series bucket and a Hawaiian shirt and go to the con. That doesn't mean I'm going to be anybody special, but in my heart, in my world, everybody loves it, and that's still great, right?
It is
Absolutely.
great. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
It is. And it's fun, right? That's the whole point. However, there were 2 things you said, that licensing, because you're working under the Lucasfilms, but then you're nonprofit. You're not doing it to go out and raise money for yourself, put more money into your pocket. You're doing it for an event or for something. So I have a question. Have you ever done one of the like Barnes and Noble Star Wars days? Have you ever done one of those?
I've been in for 2 years, and I have not had an opportunity to troop at one of those events. We have done like Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, yeah.
It's an annual thing here, I guess. Well, it's all over the country, but
yep.
I have participated in a couple of those since I've been in, and I think that's kind of similar in a way.
Yep, absolutely. And I love to see those 501st because, like you said, it could be a birthday party. It could be Barnes and Noble's Star Wars Day. It could be the Free Comic Book Day, which is the first Saturday of every May, right? Right after May the 4th, or, Revenge of the Sith or Revenge of the 5th. So you've got those opportunities. Here's some experiences I've had. I went to a Weird Al concert, not once, but twice. I'm a big Weird Al fan, but he always closes with Yoda and A Saga Begins. And the 501st gets to come out and they fill the stage in with all of you trooping or Jedis or whomever's with that. But the reason that level is there is because, of course, you're working under a licensing to make sure that you're quality and that you're not going to have like a white paper plate painted and that you're R2-D2, which is fine. Again, it's cosplay, but you're not going to be the one wanting to represent Lucasfilms and those kind of things. So I think it's awesome. What I really want to do is take exactly what you just said, because a lot of my guests, they showcase a little bit of the work in progress.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, we'll call them on the outside looking in, they just think you just go buy a costume, you put it on, and you're good. Let's really showcase what that looks like
Sure.
for building your cosplay. So I really like this one. I want to start with a few pictures. I'll ask some questions, and then we're going to build into the effort you put into your cosplay. So I want to show you this first one here. What is this? Where was this? And when was this? Do you recall?
That looks like a recent troop that we did in Florella, Alabama. Actually, I can't see the whole picture on my screen, so I only
It's got
see
a
like a half of it.
it's
But
got a
it looks like
bow.
it's got my pink bow.
Yep, it's got a pink bow.
So that event that we were at in Florella, Alabama, is an annual event every year called Cancer Freeze.
Okay.
And it's a massive fundraising event for local families within the tri-state area that have cancer. And so basically, it's like a whole weekend's worth of events and activities, and all the money raised over that weekend gets divided amongst a handful of families where someone within that family has cancer at the moment, and it helps to pay for some of their bills and expenses that they go through, and to help make life a little bit easier during those difficult times. And we were invited this year to that event for the first time. We
Okay.
actually made a connection with the Davidson family who operates it at another event, and she was like, I'm so glad y'all are here because I want to invite you to our event in a few months. So we actually made that happen. And so this picture came from that event. It was the opening ceremonies when they were announcing who the recipients of all of the monies raised for that year were going to be. And they told a little bit about the family's backstories, and we just kind of stood and flanked like either side of the stage.
Okay.
Just for morale and to make people smile. And then we took pictures that day, and we did like a fundraising event we call Blast a Trooper, where we stand in costume and little kids can like donate $1 and shoot us with little Nerf guns and have a fun time. And all the money we raise, we give to Cancer Freeze for that weekend. That's one of our fundraising methods that we have while we're trooping.
I think it's amazing. Well, it's kind of cool. Like this is your TK. You said this was your original cosplay or your original cosplay for 501st, but your original TK, right? And so I'm a 77 fan. Where's my, I gotta stay on target, right? I'm a stay on target kind of guy. I love my TK. It's still, and I love all the variations of clone troopers and death troopers, and for whatever reason that TK just resonates with me. So I love a good TK, and I think I'm going to show this one because it goes again in post-production. We'll see the whole thing, but yes, this is you full TK, and you're literally splashing up at the beach, right? This is like
Yeah.
picturesque. What's it like to be at a TK at a beach and 1,000,000 degrees?
Well, I get asked that a lot in my costume. You know, people walk up and say, "Oh man, I bet you're hot." And the answer to that is yes and no. If there's like a windy, like a breeze or a draft coming through, it's not that hot really at all, because it's kind of open on the side. So if you turn the right way, you can get a nice draft that kind of cools you off.
It vents through, right?
Right. But yeah, that event was really neat. That was at Emerald Coast Con, which was a local Northwest Florida convention, like a gaming convention, but it was held on the beaches at Fort Walton Beach.
Okay. Because isn't Emerald typically at Pensacola College?
Emerald Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Emerald Coast kind of spans the Panhandle area of Florida.
Oh, that's true.
It kind of claims it.
That's true. That's true.
The waters are that color the whole way through. But yeah, we were at the convention that weekend, and it was kind of a lull. There wasn't a lot of people, so we're like, hey, let's just walk down to the beach and take some pictures. And so this was one of them.
And it turned out it's an awesome setting. It's an awesome backdrop. It's an awesome TK. What a cool experience to be able to put that together. And then, I mean, for the rest of time, you've got the ability to have this picture, this memory of being down there. I think it's really cool. But I like cosplay for a lot of different reasons. And I like the 501st. 501st is like not only just a family like your Northwest Panhandle, but you're talking international. You're talking across the globe. You know, you've got Wampa troopers, and then you've got your UK and Australian and everywhere. But, and I might be wrong, but what is this event, and where was this, and is this 501st?
So yes, this is another 501st event. This is actually one of my first troops or event. We call them troops,
Yep.
but there's an event that I went to, and this was actually a vacation Bible school event at a church in Pensacola. They're like little weekly. I'm not sure if you're familiar with vacation Bible school, but within the Christian church, they'll have like a week where the kids come and they do like an hour Bible study. But at this church, it was all Star Wars themed, the whole week-long event.
What?
Yeah, it was really cool. And we were invited on like the final night. They have like their end of the night wrap-up ceremony, and the kids kind of show off their little awards and their crafts that they made that whole week. Yeah. And so we came out and surprised everyone there that night. And the kids just went crazy, and the big kids, the adults, went even crazier. Because I've learned that actually the adults, the big kids at heart, tend to enjoy our presence a lot more than the little tiny kids. But
well, yeah. I've got 44. I'm 44 years old, so I've got 39 years of memories and passion and joy from it versus a 3 or 4 year old. Don't get me wrong, they still enjoy it, but I'm the one that's in the background like, yes, this is amazing. I think this is such a cool idea for a VBA. And then you've got a Jawa, you've got, help me out here. I'm going to say Billy Lord, but that's not what I'm trying to say. But
she was like an older Leia, like General Leia Organa.
Oh, yep, which is what I was, okay. So I was thinking you've got a Rey, you've got a TK, and then you've got a TIE fighter pilot. Yeah, I bet the kids went crazy for this.
So this picture was all of us ladies that were there that night. So within our costuming club, we have kind of like a side group. It's not like an official thing, but we call it Ladies of the Legions. And it's kind of a group that gears towards more ladies and females and those that are consider themselves female ornate. I can't talk, but you know what I mean.
Yes, or they ornate or I can't even do it either. Orientation or how they identify, right? Gotcha.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
I got you.
So the Ladies of the Legions group is for ladies, and we kind of help each other build costumes and answer questions that might come up for issues that tend to be more of issues for women than for guys when it comes to costumes. And we support each other, and just it's an online support group. We have our own forums, our own boards that you can sign up for, and it's just something fun to be a part of. So we took this picture, just be like, hey, look at all the ladies that were there. And then
Ladies of the Legion. Mm-hmm. So Katie, do me a favor. I got to back up because I didn't miss this, but you and I were talking prior to recording, and then now it's just popped back up. But how did you get into cosplay?
So I guess we really became, I guess, fans of the 501st when we went to Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. The last time that it was in Orlando, that's where we truly met all of the costuming clubs for Star Wars. We met representatives from the Mandalorian Mercs. We were very impressed with the Merc booth. I mean, initially we decided, my husband and I decided that, hey, we'll build a Mando Merc first because it seemed a lot less intimidating. But then our friend, our buddy, actually started his own Stormtrooper build. And he finished it, and he actually made it a sand trooper, and he got approved in it and started trooping around here locally. And he was like, this is so much fun. You guys have got to do a costume too. So my husband bought the Stormtrooper kit, and he bought it for himself. And once he started building it, he realized that the size of the pieces wasn't going to fit quite as well and look as good as he really wanted it to. So he decided to not finish it. And so I was sitting there, I was like, well, I'll do it. I'll take it. I'll finish it. I've always, who wouldn't want to be a Stormtrooper? So
nobody's going to pass up a TK kit, right?
So we started fitting it to me and sizing it down so that I could wear it. And so I got it completed and submitted it for approval and was approved in 2018, sometime around in April.
And so I've been fantastic.
ever since then. And my husband, we've recently gotten him in a costume. He just got his shore trooper approved.
Okay.
So the beach pictures that you were referring to that we just took, I'm in my death trooper, but he was one of the shore troopers in those pictures.
Okay. Okay. So I appreciate that because, again, sometimes people make assumptions and we assume that you can just buy a kit, put it on, and go troop. It's not quite that easy, right? There's a lot of process that goes into this level of 501st, or excuse me, 501st, correct? Right? So it's got to go to 501st. It's a certain level. Or if somebody wants to put in, man, you said sand trooper, right? It's with the little patch on the shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
They're
you've got,
they're all sandy.
yep, and they've got the airbrushed and they're kind of dirty. And I'm thinking of 77 when they show up to Moss Isley and things like that, right? So I dig all that, but let's really look at what it looks like to put a literally a 501st effort together. So there is a lot of process here. You don't have to go through all of it, but tell me a little bit about like the helmet or some of what the process is for doing like the Death Trooper.
Sure. So speaking of the Death Trooper, there's a variety of kit makers, and we say kit because it's kind of like a puzzle piece. You get a box of all these pieces, and it's like an assembly kit, and you have to put it together. And you can see one of my pictures. I have like the out of the box image, which is what it all looks like when I started. I think it's in that middle row all the way to the left. So they come in a bunch of pieces, and the prop maker that I purchased mine from uses ABS plastic. Some of the other prop makers use different materials, but since my Stormtrooper was ABS plastic, I was more familiar with how to assemble it. So I wanted the same type of material for my Death Trooper, which is why I chose the prop maker that I originally purchased my kit from. But anyway, so it comes in a whole bunch of pieces, and there's a lot of resources on the forums for the 501st, and even some prop makers have their own YouTube tutorials of how to assemble your kit. But basically, you would trim it down and kind of get it as tight, form-fitting as you would want it, and glue it or Velcro it together to fit you, and then eventually strap it up with strapping like nylon. And eventually, if you put enough work in it, you'll be wearing it.
Well, so that kind of goes into this next set. This is then that part you're talking about right there where and I love you got Kronk in here. Kronk says it's finally starting to come together, right? So you literally doing
a lot of work to get to that point. When you're at that strapping point, like you're in that final dash. So to finally see it coming and fitting it is a big sigh of relief because you're like, oh, is this ever going to get done? And yeah, it seems perfect.
And so for us, myself as a fan and for everyone else that gets to watch and see this, I appreciate your effort into the historical documentation of this process because a lot of people don't know what it takes to actually put on. And I don't mean just the 501st. I mean any kind of cosplay. Because I know people then spend, how long does it take you to fully gear up for a troop?
Once you get into like a routine, it doesn't take as long, but I need at least 30 minutes.
Okay.
And usually at least one person to kind of help with some pieces. Now my Death Trooper is easier. I can actually get in and out of my Death Trooper on my own without a handler. The way I built it, I built it with that in mind. So it's a little bit easier to get in and out of. Now my Stormtrooper, I have to have help. There's certain snaps like on my shoulder bells that when you're in the armor, you can't bend and reach and get the angle to snap it. So there's some things like I have to have help with.
So Star Wars fan, huge Star Wars fan. And then looking through your page and getting to see, like I said, the historical documentation of this process, I want to get to this, the actual final product. So one, your smile says it all. I literally, when I pulled this one up, you've got the full Death Trooper, you've got the bucket, you've got your weapon of choice, and you're sitting there. And I was like, this is fantastic. So tell me what that feels like. By the way, what was the length that took you to get the pieces, go through the process to get to this smiling picture here?
So I started with the helmet first. The helmet was separate from the main body armor pieces.
Okay.
And so I started on that helmet 2 Christmases ago, or was it last Christmas? It might have been last. Christmas.
Okay.
By the way, I'm a teacher, so my only time I really had to work on my kit was on weekends or holidays.
Right.
So Christmas break, really what I mean by work on my helmet.
Okay.
But it took a month and a half of Saturdays of working to get the helmets totally, completely finished. And then I started working on the actual body armor pieces after that. And all in all, it took me about a year to get it to approval level where I could submit it to the team that approves you and to hear back from them saying that I was approved in it.
And this is my naivety, so I apologize, but I want to understand something about the 500 first. When you became TK with your TK, did you get a TK number?
Yes.
And when you submitted for a Death Trooper, do you get a different, no, so you're still whatever that number is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when you join the 501st Legion, you get to pick your own unique like ID number, and we call them TK numbers, even though every costume has the initials TK. TK is the Stormtrooper designation, but you get a unique number, and that's the number you keep the whole time that you're in the costuming club.
Okay.
So every costume you add to that will always have the same 5 numbers.
Okay. That makes sense. So I got to tell you, 40 years, some odd years of watching Star Wars. Episode 9 just came out. In the entire journey, there's Clone Wars, there's a cartoon series, there's 4 cartoon series, but Rogue One became one of my favorite films ever. And so I want to lead up to not only this Death Trooper coming from Rogue One, right? But this picture right here. So again, it's on the beach. It's in a beach assault. You're coming up. You've got the waves behind you. Full cost. What's this like walking through a beach in a full Death Trooper?
Yes, it felt pretty fantastic. It really felt like I was on the movie set myself and a part of, like I was walking around the beaches of Scarif, which was pretty cool. I instantly fell in love with the Death Troopers when I saw them on screen in Rogue One, and that we watched it in theaters, I don't think we were in the 501st yet. We were working on our costumes, but I don't think we had finished. I can't remember, but I remember sitting there and seeing them and hearing their garbled voices that they're down, and I was like, I want to be that. Like, so, I want to be one of those.
I imagine this is how it went down. You guys are sitting there. You've got your popcorn. The titles roll. Here comes the Death Trooper. And you leaned over and you went, I'm going to do that. And like you were done, right? That was it.
That's all
I want to talk about one final image because actually you just kind of said it. But I think that this next one is where I was going to. But you kind of just said it. But the hours put in, the time spent, the passion of your love for charity, your love for other people to just go. And again, I don't know what it cost. I do a little bit. I know what it costs to get a kit and go through the process and put this. And then you've got your rollers that you take and it's got the styrofoam cutouts or however you travel. And then you're going to drive your own self to another state. You're going to drive your own self and troop and do that because of the love that you have in your heart and the joy it brings to others. Right. But this picture, so just like you said a minute ago, Katie, you felt like you're on a movie set. The Scarif and you coming up on you guys are kicking the water up. I mean, it's like so do you know who took this picture, or can I give credit to who took this picture?
Yes. Actually, she's a friend of ours. Her name is Erin. And I did tag her in my initial post on my Facebook page. I don't know if I was able to tag her on my Instagram pictures. But her name is Erin, and she was a good friend of ours. And so we were kind of bored because there's no troops right now because there was a ban because of the coronavirus. We weren't supposed to go on our costume officially under the 501st. So we had been bored for a while. And I did not have really a lot of pictures of my Death Trooper at this point because once I got it approved, coronavirus craziness happened. And I didn't really have any events to take it to. And I was really wanting to get some good pictures in it somewhere. And so we said, hey, let's just all meet up at the beach and take some awesome pictures. And so that's what we did. And so that's also Mike Kiana. He's the other short trooper.
Yep. Who else is in this picture?
My husband, Jacob.
Yep. So you got Mike, you got Jacob, you got friends, family, you've got loved ones, photographers. You've got, first off, the lighting. I don't know what this was, like that golden hour, I think, where you hit it just right. This is seriously, this should be your Christmas card, your postcards. This should be everything, because it literally is one of the best. It is. You guys rock this one out. Absolutely knock this one out of the park. It's amazing to see from start to finish. So obviously the history you put into those efforts and put in, but to go from an idea, because again, this image is you going, I'm gonna do that, and it's like that's the moment, and then this is what we get out of it. This is literally just a fantastic event, or a fantastic effort and fantastic return on your investment, ROI. There's your ROIs. Not only that, but you got some fanboy in the middle of Texas that's just, I'm geeking out over here over the quality of what you do. And then again, what you do, meaning whether it's, VBA, or whether it's going to be, an event that you're going for a charity, for a cancer event to raise money for somebody else. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we are really, really lucky to be able to do this with the blessing of Lucasfilm, because they could at any moment just come up and say, hey, we're not going to allow this anymore, and then we wouldn't be able to do stuff like this officially. But the beach photo shoots and stuff are fun. I loved doing that, and it makes me feel really good, and I love looking at my pictures and using them for trading cards and stuff like that within our costuming club. But I would like to throw out a plug for the charity aspect, because that's really what it's all about for me, is really like the kids and seeing them smile and making their day. Because even when we went to the beach, and it wasn't an official thing, it was just some of us all showing up to do pictures. We hadn't even gotten to the restroom area to get to the beach, and there was already kids in the parking lot coming up saying, hey, can we take a picture with you? And parents like, hey, can I get their picture? And we're like, yeah, sure. So that's really what it is all about. Anyone that's thinking about the 501st, it is cosplay and it's costuming, but it's costuming for a really good cause, and sharing the love of Star Wars with kids of all ages. So that's really what draws me to troop in my costume, and what pushed me through all of those months of working on my kit so hard.
I wish I could zoom in and show you my chill bumps, because I have chill bumps. No, seriously. My last question as we get to wrap up is usually, what is it about this? I didn't have to go there, because you literally just shared from the heart what it is and why you do what you do. And I can only imagine pulling up, and you guys are again in the parking spaces. You guys are, kind of getting geared up, and then before you know it, you've already got a crowd showing up, and your purpose was still going to be out there on the beach, but you still enjoyed that moment and be a part of sharing it with them and the fans.
We get to go to a lot of really cool events. Like you said, Weird Al concerts, that would be kind of like the elite type events that we get offered to, and they're kind of fought for within the costuming club, because there's only so many spots, and you do have to live in a certain location.
Sure.
Where we live, we don't really have a lot of major cities around us, so we would have to really drive a long ways to be a part of that. And those events are fun, like baseball games and those Disney events like Run Disney. The 501st are usually invited there. Those events are fun to do, even conventions. But for me, I like the smaller stuff, like the birthday parties, because that's where you really make the biggest impact. Because that little kid is going to remember that Darth Vader came to his birthday, or a stormtrooper came, or that stormtrooper was a girl. That's life-altering stuff, and you get to be a part of awesome memories that way.
So, Katie, this has only been a few years for you, right? 3 years?
2018.
Yeah, so you're pushing that 3-year mark. You've got Ladies of the Legion. No, did I say that right? Ladies of the Legion. You've got small groups within your groups. You've got videos that you can share with and or get from your other friends that are into the 501st to show you how to put the kits together. There's an entire network of people that do those helpful things within your community. And then, like you said, whether it's a small thing at a church, whether it's a small thing at a birthday party, the Barnes and Nobles Day, which I don't know if they're doing those, but like you said, I forgot about baseball. Oh my gosh, baseball days where they do the minor league baseball games and it's Star Wars night. And then, you're one of maybe a dozen or 20, 501st, but then there's thousands of people that get to enjoy your effort put into it. I also like this idea, families that cosplay together, stay together. I like the idea, you and Jacob, right? You guys are both putting your kids together at the same time, putting those efforts together. I think it's awesome. I mean, what a better way to just be a part of the planet than bringing joy to somebody's face, right?
Right. It has really been good too for our relationship because it's stuff that we can do together, and we get invited to events that we wouldn't have known of or may not would have gone to had we not been a part of the costuming club and the charity aspect. So it's provided fun stuff to do on Saturdays for us. So yeah, it's been really beneficial all the way around. Plus we made some really great friends. I mean, Mike Quiones and his family is just one example of awesome people that we've met that have become really close to us through all of it. So it's been really neat, a neat organization to be a part of.
And so I don't know what my intent is. When I started this, I started actually a professional page on YouTube. It was Leadership Through Star Wars. That's actually my very first video series I started. And then I brought my daughter in to Kids Say the Smartest Things. And so I asked my daughter a question, and we led into life lessons out of those simple conversations. Then when COVID hit, I started Art Through the Apocalypse because I wanted to see what people were pouring their passions back into. Chefs and musicians and artists and photographers, they had more time to put back into their passion. And then cosplay started creeping into it, and I just jumped right into the cosplay world. And so far it's taken off. I've had 3 interviews today, and I've got 7 more this week. And it's amazing as an Uber fan to just share what it is that you do. Katie, I think it's a beautiful world that you live in. I think that your effort and your passion for not only just Star Wars, but the cosplaying and the costumes of that 501st level at the same time. And it's not about, you said it's not about me. It's not about the look at me. You just said it right there. I want to just go and bring a smile and put some joy on somebody's face at whatever event, whether it's small or large. I think it's a pretty cool thing. And that's why I started this, because I want to share that. There are so many positive things in the world, but we don't get to hear them enough. There are so many amazing people in the world, and we don't get to share them enough. And so that's kind of where this came from, and why I want to tell you personally, thank you for being on. It's our first time meeting, our first time interacting. I think it's an amazing thing that you and your family do, and that you and your friends do. And now I get to be a part of just sharing that. There I go again, got my chill bumps, but just being a part of getting to share what you do with the world. And I don't have a large audience. I mean, you're only going to have so many views on this video, but I want every one of those persons that gets to see this and view it to have that impact that you're making in the world. I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and inviting me to come sit down with you and have a chat and share my hobby and what we've learned through this journey, this process, which is, Star Wars costuming with the 501st Legion. So it's been really nice. And thank you so much for having me. And if you're ever interested in doing a costume, you got some people that can definitely get you started on the right foot.
So I am moving to Florida with my family. We're going to be down in the southern part, but Florida's pretty big, but there's a lot of people that I can still reach out to, and I absolutely will take you up on that. The first time I get a kit and open it up, I'm just going to I got to call Katie because I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea. But yes, I do. I do appreciate the extension of the invitation, and you'll probably definitely be hearing from me when I get my first kit. But to everybody that's really a part of not even just the 501st, but the world of joy that we bring, I appreciate you, Katie, for being here. And thank you again for just being you for what you do.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yep. Listen, everybody else out there, this was Creative Cosplay Corner. I am Cable Rose, the Uber fan, and we had Katie with us tonight. We'll get her contact and her information as well, and we'll share that with everybody. And to everybody else out there in TV land, we'll catch you guys on the flip-flop.